Howdy, and welcome to Family Friendly Foods. Today is a naughty day. I'm going to show you 3 different things to do with a brownie mix, and they're all absolutely yummy. And I'll tell y'all the secret of the make the calories go away. It doesn't really work, but you can try it. Okay, now I'm gonna make brownie bites, and I absolutely love these, and it's portion control. Anyway, I try to fool myself when I make chocolate. I've got this brownie mix, and it's a triple chunk brownie mix, and you need to open it up all the way. All right, now I'm gonna put it in my pan, and this has some extra chocolate chunk chips in it. So it's going to be really, really good. Now oh my goodness. I'm going to make this, and then after I make it, I'm going to put it in my muffin tin. Now I've sprayed this muffin tin with a good spray. It's one made for baking, so it works really well. Now I have, with some bourbon, I took about 1/3 of a cup of bourbon, and I put it in the microwave. I did it in one of these Pyrex things and did it for 30 seconds. And then I poured it on my cherries. And my cherries now are macerating. Now, with the cherries, the dried cherries, I don't know whether y'all know this or not, but cherries are really good for arthritis. So, what can I say? I'm making this so your arthritis won't hurt. I've got all kinds of reasons not to do this stuff. Okay, now I'm going to take, and I've got my oil and my water, and you can even see how they separated. I'm going to pour them in, pre-measured it. Now, 1 egg. And there's a big conversation about eggs. Do you do them on the corner or something? Do you do them flat? I do them on the corner. Sorry, Damaris. Damaris is a former student of mine, and she has a show with Bobby Flay on the Food Channel now. Okay, now I've got it. I'm going to mix this stuff up. Yeah. Now, when something calls for an egg, it usually means a large egg. So I'm going to do this, and see, I'm mixing it together. And, oh, look at it coming together. Now, I like this brownie mix because it's so thick. And this came from Value Market. Of course, they're the sponsor of the show. But this really is a good brownie mix, which you may or may not know. But now you do. All right, let me get this stirred. Good Lord. See how thick this is? Wow. It's going to be so good. Now, I don't want to over-mix it because the flour has gluten in it. Gluten is a protein, and if you overwork it, it'll get tough. It's like bread flour is high gluten. Cake flour has low gluten, and this is more all-purpose. Now, I've got it ready. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drop it by spoonfuls, my container. Now, you don't want to fill it up more than 3/4 of the way. You can use a small ice cream scoop and go like this, but I've told y'all before how bad my arthritis is, so that doesn't work for me. Now, if you spill some on the side, you don't want to wipe it off, because then you're wiping off also spray that you put on the front of it, and then it'll just stick, and it'll be terrible. And then you're going to say, Chef Nancy, you should have told me that. Now I've got all the batter in the pan, and I'm ready to put in my cherries. And I'm just going to take 1 cherry and put it in each brownie, if I can pick them up. Now the bourbon that's left here is going to taste like cherries. So it would make a really fun drink, It would also be good to use with other fruit to macerate. Also, it'd probably make a really good Manhattan. So we'll see. So I'm putting one of these cherries. See, they got really big and plump. You could use any fruit, dried fruit you wanted, but I don't know, something about cherries and chocolate. And it helps with your arthritis. So that's going to make these healthy. And Lord knows we need healthy desserts. Okay, I've got 2 left. Oh, and there's going to be some cherries left. Well, can't lie, I did that on purpose. Now, I got my brownie bites, and these will freeze really well too. So let me get ready to put it in the oven. All right, now I'm going to put my brownie bites in, and I've got a dark tray, so I'm putting them in at 325. And let's see, I'm going to bake them for about, I'm going to check them in maybe 15 minutes. Okay, on to the next thing. All right, now I'm doing my second brownie mix, and this time we're making brownie brittle. And I got to tell you, there's something about this that you just keep eating it. You got to hide it on yourself. All right, I've got my eggs in here, my brownie mix, and I'm getting ready to add my oil, and then I'm going to add my water. And you should always keep stuff flat when you measure. I'm going to mix her up. And I've added a little extra. I used a little bit different mix with this so it would be runnier. Because you're going to see we got to make it real thin. And this mix is thinner. It calls for more eggs, more water, more oil. Okay, now I use canola oil when I do this because canola oil really doesn't have any flavor. Okay, I got to tell you, this chocolate smells so good. And those brownie bites in the oven are killing me. Oh my gosh, they smell good. All right, now, this will make about 3 pans. I got my cookie sheet and put a little bit on there. And you can use the back of a spoon, or you can use an offset spatula. See, that's an offset spatula. It's offset. And I'm going to spread it as thin as I can so it'll be nice and crispy. Now, I'm going to bake this at 325 for 20 to 25 minutes. Again, all this kind of depends on your stove. Okay? And I like to turn it around some after about 10, 15 minutes so it doesn't burn or anything because it's so thin. Nice and thin. Now, I put parchment paper on this. I also sprayed the edges. But there's nothing better than parchment paper, whether you're cooking bacon in the oven or you're doing brownies. I mean, there's nothing better than this. The deal is, it gets your pan, you can't coat your pan the way this. You just take this out, this parchment paper out, and you literally don't need to you want to wash it. Or as my mother would say, rinse it. Oh, she'd get her German and English mixed up. Now I'm going to do this. Like I said, this makes 3 pans, but right now we're just making 2. Oh, gosh. I can smell the chocolate. Now, it'll spread a little bit on its own, but you want to really make sure you've got it good and thin. If you can see through it, obviously, that's not good. You want to cover the holes up. All right, brownie brittle. Now, it'll make 3 pans. I'm not going to make the third pan right now. All right, the next thing we're going to do, we're going to cut up some caramel. And the way you're going to do it, you're going to take your caramel piece, and you're going to cut it in half, and then you're going to cut it again. They're kind of stiff. And then what I'm doing, I'm getting 18 little bits out of each one because this is tasty. So I've got them cut up, and I got a whole bunch of them right here. And I'm going to sprinkle them onto this. They get kind of sticky, so they make sure you're not making a bunch of piles of them from them sticking together. Oh, goodness gracious sakes alive. Now, if you wanted to, after you make these and you break them up, you can put it in Ziploc bags, and you don't need to freeze it or anything. The other stuff, like the brownie bites, if you're not going to eat them in the next couple days, you can go on and freeze them. And when we make our chocolate waffles, oh, Lord, they are such a good dessert. And again, that's something you serve room temperature, so you make it ahead of time. Nothing's better than sea salt with chocolate and caramel. So what I've got here is I've got coarse sea salt. Oops, coarse sea salt. You want to make sure there's sea salt in every bite. It really, you may think I'm crazy until you taste this, but it is really good. And these are just great things to have and to make that are different. Now, these brownie brittle, one of the things that's fun to do with it is take it and break it up, and you can serve it with ice cream. You can do anything with this, and it's just really good. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my brownie bites and check them, and I think they're done. They only take about 15 minutes because this muffin tin is dark and things cook faster. Okay, let me see what I got here. Oh, yes. Now I can check them with the toothpick, or I can see how they're pulling away from the edge, or I can use a really clean knife and stick it in the side and come back out. And I think we're in pretty good shape. Okay, now I'm going to put, my brittle in. Now this is 325 for about 20 to 25 minutes. And in about 15 minutes, I'm going to take them and I'm going to put the bottom on the top and the top on the bottom. All righty. There we go. I'm going to set up and we're going to make some waffles. Okay. Now we're ready for the waffle. Whenever you make the waffles, how many eggs the brownie mix calls for, always add another one. It makes all the difference in the world. So I'm adding an extra egg here. And I'm going to stir it in. Then, always want to make sure your waffle iron is hot enough. I mean, it makes a mess if it's not. All right, now got my egg incorporated. Yeah. Now, what I've done is I'm using some of the brownie mix I had left over from my brownie bites. Because I'm telling y'all, when I make these things, I like keep eating them. Now, you can also use the walnut brownie mix too. I don't use that as much because so many people now are allergic to nuts. Go figure. All right, I got my waffle iron ready. Now, you don't want to put too much in there because it'll make a major mess. Kind of make sure it'll scooch around. And then we're going to put the top down, lock it, and when it starts steaming, we're ready to go. Now, what I'm going to do here, I've got some berries that I got that were previously frozen. You can buy fresh, you can do whatever you want. I just like to go with the frozen because I'm not buying a whole bunch and they go bad on me. Now, I've washed my orange, and I'm going to do a little orange zest on this because it'll really do a pick-me-up. There's something special about orange and chocolate, and why won't this work? Oh, there we go. Oh, yeah. That orange zest, my goodness, you can really smell it. It smells so good. Now, I've got my orange in there. Now, if you want to add a little Grand Marnier to it, which is an orange liqueur, you can. I'm going to add a little bit of bourbon. And this so happens to be the bourbon I macerated the cherries in. And you do want to save that because you can use it for this, or again, like I said, use it in a drink. Now, I don't want a lot. And I'm going to mix it in there. And it's just going to give this stuff an extra flavor. We're all about extra flavors. Now, I'm smoking. I think that's the clue that it's done. And let me see when I open this up. Uh-oh.
Oh, no.
I forgot to spray it.
Huh?
So we're going to do this over here in just a minute. Okay. Chef Nancy cleaned up her mess. You always spray the inside of a waffle maker. I know that. You know that. And you really know it now. I don't know what I was thinking except for it just sounded so good. So I've sprayed my waffle maker. And now I'm going to do this all over again. Put some waffle in it. Some batter. I'm going to put some waffle in it. I'm going to put some batter in the waffle maker. And kind of ooze it around. I don't want to do too much because, boy, will that make a mess. Okay. Now, I'm going to put the lid on again and close it up. I've got my fruit ready to go with a little bit of that bourbon that I macerated the cherries in and some orange zest. While this is going, guess what? I'm going to check my brittle. Okay, out comes the brittle. About 25 minutes at 325. Now, what I'm going to do is I want to cool it fast. But if I stuck this in the refrigerator, it's not good for the refrigerator. So I'm going to stick this on a cooling rack. I'm going to do that real quick, and then I'm going to tend to my waffles. All righty now. Let's see how our waffle is doing. Now I'm going to do this slow. Ah, look at what we've got. We have ourselves chocolate waffles. And you got to be careful when you take them out. Well, I think I'm going to leave this in just a little bit longer. But it's ready to rock and roll. I'm going to leave it in for about another, couple more seconds, and then I'm going to turn it out like I'd turn a cake out. Yeah, here we go. Beautiful. Oh my gosh, now look at this. And what I will do, I'll do a whole one. You know, I've only eaten a ton of chocolate today. All right, so these can be served cold, and that's normally what you want to do. You're going to serve it cold, and you've got it like this. Now, if you want to put something besides this on it, you can put any kind of fruit. You can serve it with ice cream. You can do whatever you want. These things are just so useful. And I'm going to put my berries on it. And you can put as many berries as you want. Now, this is real whipped cream. It is not that horrible stuff. This is made from dairy, and it says so on the label. Okay? It is not Cool Whip. Voila! Here we go. Now, what we're going to have to do is get all our cookies, all our brownie stuff together and show it off. I have shown you the magic of a brownie mix. We have got our brownie bites with the macerated cherries. We've got our brownie, oh my gosh, our brownie brittle. Oh, I just can't tell you how good that is. And our brownie waffles with the fruit and the whipped cream. I got to tell y'all, this is all good. You can freeze that. You can freeze these waffles, keep that in a Ziploc bag, and you've got treats for a week. But I got to tell you, I'm half sick right now because I've eaten some of every one of these, and it wasn't just some. I got to confess, okay? I am a chocoholic. Thank you. Have a nice day.